Have you ever caught yourself saying, oh, I'm so old that blah, 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 or getting old sucks, or just anything that is self-deprecating in that sense? I just saw somebody post something similar on Facebook and my heart sank because, well, first of all, this woman's way younger than I am. And I just find that it's just not healthy. When I was young, I dealt with self-deprecating thoughts all the time. I didn't like myself, I had low self-esteem. It took me years to overcome that. So now I steer clear at almost 55 of saying to anybody, well, this is how horribly old I am. I try to talk about aging in a positive way because number one, there's nothing we can do about it. The alternative is just not that exciting. The fact that we're alive at a certain age is something to be super, super grateful for. I have friends who are no longer amongst the living in this world and they didn't even turn 50. That makes me grateful for the age I am at now, and hopefully I will be grateful for every age I am at. That doesn't mean that I might enjoy all the changes that aging brings, but here's to some things that I've done despite being too old for them. When I was 23, I had already been a fitness instructor, but what I really, really wanted to do was be a dancer. At 23, I walked into my first jazz and modern dance class, but unfortunately it wasn't for beginners. It was, I don't know, intermediate to high level, and when the choreography time came around, I made an excuse, I left early, and I cried my eyes out in the dressing room and later at home. I could have just given up, but I went back the next day and I took the class again. I cried again, I went home, and so on and so forth. I continued dancing. I went to auditions. I enjoyed every minute of it. I took dance classes for hours every day. I even went to from Spain to New York to take dance classes in a studio that's still open called Steps on Broadway. It was amazing. I would have missed out on so many years of enjoying dancing to this day. And in my 40s, when I lost everything, and I talk about this in one of my other videos, is the year that I lost everything. I was on food stamps, and after my divorce in 2008, dancing saved my mental sanity. So if I hadn't started, oh goodness, and I started ballroom dancing in my 40s. So I would not have enjoyed that part had I not started at that age. Another thing I did when I was too old to learn was that after a lifetime of typing by looking at the keyboard and maybe with two fingers, I was making, all my life I had made a living with words. I was translating them, I was adapting them, I was writing them, but I realized, goodness, I could be so much faster if I knew where the keys are. So at 35 or 36, one of those 2 years, I decided I am taking an online course, because by then, of course, the internet already had rolled around. I thought, I don't care if people think I'm too old for this, I'm gonna do this. And I did. It was hard, there was a learning curve, my work was slower for a while, but I stuck it out, and now, almost 20 years later, goodness, if I hadn't done that, the past 20 years, I would have been stuck just, with looking at the keyboard and using two fingers. I became an influencer in my late 40s, a person that people follow online. And who does this who starts this when they're in their actually 50? When I was 50 is when I made the change of, okay, I am an editor for somebody else's website, so I'm launching my own, which is viva50.com. I make a full-time living doing this. Don't think you are too old. I refuse to give a negative connotation to that. You will not hear me saying, oh, I'm too old for that, I'm too old for partying. No, I'm not. If it takes me longer to recover, but if I really want to go party, I'm going to go party. Or picking up a sport, no, I'm not. I might not want to do something, but I don't think that has to do with age. The minute that you start putting age as an excuse to not do things, or the moment that you say, oh, this is an awful thing, you start believing that. And I think, like, if I'm lucky, if I'm now almost 55, and given that my grandmother's 101, I have a good chance of living a relatively long life. I want it to be in good condition, in good shape, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So, barring illness, which could happen, and I keep repeating this because I don't take any of the good stuff for granted. But goodness, if I adopt a negative attitude now at 54, what, I'm going to live the next 30, 40 years, I'm being very optimistic, 50 years of my life in a dark mood? Hell no. So honestly, if you're feeling down and out about your age, I encourage you to seek out other women who are older than you, and they'll set you straight. They'll tell you you're a kid, because at 54, I still, some days, yes, I feel 54, and some days I feel more tired, but that doesn't keep me from having hope and from doing the things that I need to do to keep a positive outlook and know that life is not over. I personally still have dreams. I am writing my next 2 books. I am going to be certified as a yoga instructor, and I will most likely get that certification at 55. Why now? Because I feel that if I don't do it in 10 or 20 years, I will look back and think, what the heck was I thinking? Why did I think I was too old to get certified as a yoga instructor? That's just not true. This is my experience. This is the way I live my life. Every age has something to offer. Every day you have something to offer to the world, to others. So do yourself a favor and be nice to yourself about aging. I always like to close my videos recommending my latest book in English. It's called Reach: From Single Mom on Welfare to Digital Entrepreneur. And no matter whether you're 20 or 80, I hope it inspires you to realize that yes, you can reinvent yourself. Yes, you can have a positive outlook, even if life has handed you some crappy cards at some point. If you like this video, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. If you didn't like this video, I invite you to look at the other videos I have out there, and maybe one of them will make you really, really want to subscribe to my channel.